Good morning, everyone. I am here after some time, but I'm very glad to see all the familiar faces. This particular reading, we always hesitated. Was like, this topic isn't quite as inspiring, isn't it? Why do devotees fall? But we feel that it is a very important topic for pretty much all of us. Why do we say that? Why do we say that? That's right, yeah. So if there is anybody here who has not fallen, please, you can leave here. You can save half an hour of your time, you see. And that is why it is important, It's like, it is not like in old Hindi movies, they would probably, I think they have corrected themselves now. But the movie, whatever, that drama will happen for 2-3 hours and then it will end. They lived happily ever after. Now, those who have, of us who have actually lived, it's like there is nothing like that, isn't it? No matter what has happened, how beautiful things has happened, there's nothing ever after which is eternal happiness, at least the way they interpret. Even on the spiritual path, I think that is what the reality is. But there, in this story that Surina just read, some things is there for us that we all try to learn from our fast. No, we want to become wise. So Judas was one of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ. Now Jesus Christ was an avatar, as we know, and among the 12, he was one of the chosen one. So he cannot be such a stupid guy. Oh, master must have made a mistake. No, he did have some power. He did have some understanding that attracted him to Jesus Christ. But still, in this story, then what is it happen? No, so I just want us to go through that journey. Like these disciples were chosen by Jesus Christ, but in a very strange manner. It's not like he was already like a one big fellow. There was a prophecy at that time saying like some Messiah is going to get born and he's going to become the new king. Now, nobody actually knew what that really meant. But of course, if you heard recently we had this election, so everybody has opinions and everybody has some projections and thoughts about that, isn't it? And so everybody was talking about that also. And when these 12, they got to know Jesus Christ more and more, and then he started following him, they also had their own understanding of what this is going to lead to. And Jesus Christ was doing immensely impossible things. Just before he entered Jerusalem, what did he do? He raised a person. He was dead and he brought him back to life. Unheard of. They saw this from their own eyes. They say, he is the one. They understood it, but they didn't know necessarily what is next. He was making people eat and then manifesting food out of nowhere. People were getting healed just by touching his garment. They just were on a high. You see, like they say, we have found something so precious. Obviously, isn't it? And with that background, they entered Jerusalem and thinking now he's going to take up the throne. Everybody is just going to be at his feet. The one who can bring dead people alive, he's just unconquerable. But they were just, this is all still happening. And what does Jesus Christ do when he went to Jerusalem? He starts creating trouble. He goes to the temple and then destroys all the shops outside. He says, this is a place where people should come for worship, not for shopping. He says, oh boy, okay, well, they were still observing. Maybe there's something. He says, okay, this is not going to be as peaceful, as easy as we thought. Same thing with Judas. Judas was a very intelligent fellow. And then he also was studying a lot, and he thought that if he becomes part of that big congregation, if he basically talks to the influential people, maybe that will be helpful. But Jesus has no such interests. He did talk to them, but to just demolish all the beliefs that they have. He was there to create trouble. Not in the trouble the way we understand, but just establish something completely different. Eradicate what their belief system was. But Judas didn't think it that way. He thought maybe this is the way it should be done. And he tried to convey it to many times. In the story also, when Mary, one of the other disciples of Jesus, trying to wash his feet with very expensive oil, what does he say? Why waste money on such things? We can save that money. More poor can be fed. But Jesus gave him a choice. Watch yourself. What are you thinking? Stay in tune. Your projections are not matching what we intend to do here. Can you correct yourself? He didn't hear that then. And 3 days later, Jesus Christ was crucified. Something he didn't even think that it is going to happen like that. And why does this happen? Because too much. Too much. We all have projections, isn't it? There is like we all, our mind, the way it works is just there is something. Thing happens and we start analyzing it. We make predictions around that. It is fine. But then we also want that prediction to come true. That is what the problem is. We sort of hold on to that. No, this is the way it should all happen. I had a very good friend from Palo Alto where I came to Ananda, and then she also used to do counseling to various people. That was her profession. And she was good at that, but she also felt that at times she requires something more than just the professional help. Like she needs to really tune into what is the right thing to say, how I can help people better. So she said, she was sharing this, so many times she would say, okay, I have no idea how to deal with this particular client. So then she would go and then meditate and then try to tune, ask Master, can you help me? And then at times she said the inspiration would come. Master would answer, okay, this is the way it can be done. And then from that, she would just continue. And then continue for a few days and then again something wrong will happen. He said, what happened? That was the right inspiration. Then she said, the way I was asking Master is like, thank you for that inspiration. But I know from here how to take it forward. Because that was her profession, you see. Like you just give me a thing and then the rest I'll take care of. But don't worry too much about that. But then she realized it is not that you just take it one day and then the 7 days you just follow what you think we really know, what we have trained ourselves. Ask for that guidance in a continuous stage. Because what is it? When we say we draw the inspiration, that's a stable ground, we hope, isn't it? Why do we fall? Why do devotees fall? Have you ever experienced earthquake? Some of you, yeah. What happens? The earth shakes. Now, all of a sudden, something which is supposed to be stable, if it starts rocking, what happens is we don't know what to do. This is not supposed to be happening. And if we stand on a shaky ground, sooner or later, the more it will shake, we're going to fall, isn't it? And what is that shaky ground? And shaky ground is our own intellect, which is our own projections. Now, reflect, if I invite you to reflect in your own thing, like when 10 years ago or few years ago, whatever we believe, this is the way it is, many times there's changes in time. Even we always talk about science. 30 years ago, what science believed, they laugh at it now. They say, no, that was a horrible thing to do. Even at times, just condemn it. But it was right at that point in time. Now it is not. So what is stable about it? No, it's just constantly fluctuating. There is a place for projection and understanding and thinking. But if that becomes our stronghold, then eventually it is going to rock someday and we are going to fall, isn't it? And that is what, like our first technique that we teach in meditation. What do we teach that? Hong Saw. And what is it that is saying? It's saying like choose that stable ground within yourself. Where is that stable ground? Focus on breath. That is sort of your rope which will take you to that stable island. And what happens as we are focusing on the breath? A thought comes, very familiar thought. Hey, what are you doing? Let's go play. And that has been joyful experience so far in our life, isn't it? It was no, I'm heading towards that stable ground. What happens? But but let's play, that will happen. And then we're looking at it, we're not sure whether should I go or not go. And then slowly says, no, this was too joyful. And there we go. We play for some time, forgetting about where that stable ground was. And that's what our practice is like, bringing back any time. When we again find out, okay, caught me again, I have done this earlier, I know this doesn't work, but that was just a side practice, and we try to bring it back again. That also is applicable to life, not just our meditation technique, isn't it? We talk about things that we have accomplished. Swami Kriyananda, when after many number of years, when he was just walking, Ananda village was established by this time. So he was just walking and looking at all the good things that had come up in his lifetime. And then, so just a thought comes to his mind and saying like, okay, good things have come. I have done good things. And even that thought, he said, is a problem thought. And not just in the context of humility or just saying, oh, give everything to God. Is it really even a reality? He questioned that. And he said, these are the grips. We talk about, okay, tell us about yourself. And then, well, there is things about, where do you see yourself in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years? These are all good projections. I don't mean this is anything bad about that. But really, what is reality about that? We talk a lot about pride. We say, I have done this. And part of it is true. Many people will actually that is true. Steve Jobs actually did build Apple. What is his name? Microsoft chief. Bill Gates actually built Microsoft, isn't it? And the same thing, if we talk about your own creations, I did it. But as from yogic perspective, whenever we look at it, is it really true? Is it really true? And then we question, because we don't want this to lead to pride. When we talk about I did it, we ask about what is our own participation in that. That was a nice background. I was in Pune, and that's what I was away for some months. And then this was the time I also got to visit my family. My father is a medical professional, so many times we would have this lunch table conversations. Now, he is absolutely not interested in anything that we talk about. Whenever I open my mouth, I know that he's sort of withdrawing. His body is there, but he's just not there. But this one time when we are more talking like a scientific, he's a medical professional. So I was asking him, tell me, like we are doing things, and genuinely questions. I was asking like many things is happening at the moment, isn't it? He knows the human anatomy much more than me. But I said like that, my liver, my all intestine, everything is functioning at the moment. He says, yes. He says, I'm breathing also. We say that I'm going to drink this chai and it is somehow getting digested. I said, yes. And I asked like, but really I am not doing any of it. Who is taking care of it? What is my contribution to that? How does this work? And this clicked so much to him because he had just seen this inside out, isn't it? The person is in coma, as they say, medical coma, but the body still functions. So who runs it? We call electricity as a great, great, great miracle. And we know how the bulbs work because something's behind that is running it. We know the source of it. Some dam is there where the water is following, and we all understand that. So this is a machinery, if you want to call it, for the lack of good work. Where does this come from? And to that, what answer he gave is, he pointed his finger like that. A medical professional who has absolutely no interest in spirituality points a finger. But isn't that the reality? And then when we accept that as a reality, when we understand that, we say, what have I done? I can't even put my own self standing like this without the help of that source. Forget about doing all these big achievements that we talk about. Not that we demean ourselves when we say that, but just it then brings us natural humility, a sense of gratitude as we talk about. There was a great saint from Italy. His name is Padre Pio. And then he was asked. Again, many miracles happened when in his lifetime. So they asked him, Padre Pio, Father Pio, you did so many miracles in your lifetime. How? He said, yes, that is true. I have observed them all. You see, like there also, there's a separation because he did it. He knew it, but he also knew that it wasn't him. He was just an observer as this whole thing was happening. And that is the greatness. What makes great people great? One of the most foremost disciples of Yoganandaji was Rajarsi Janakananda. And again, Rajarsi Janakananda was a very successful businessman of that time. Again, 2,000 people who used to work for him, millionaire. And then he sort of established master's work. And I was reading just letters exchanged between Master and Rajarsi, and how he would address Rajarsi, my little one. There was nothing little about him, okay? Meaning he was a guy who was running this successful business. And he was very particular about many things, including his diet. But between the two of them, there was that sweetness. He would ask him, my little one. And many times but why was Rajarsi great? He would ask, but don't forget, Master would tell him, where your power comes from. And to which Rajarsi's response used to be, Yes, Master, I know. It comes from you. Not just a humility, not just a sweetness, it's a realization. And he lived in that realization. And that's how he was able to manifest so much things. Gratefulness comes because thank you for choosing me as an instrument for any work that is happening. Because as they say, when we are used as instrument, we get blessed. And we just say thank you for that blessing, isn't it? If this is life, when we talk about like what is wrong with projections and all those things, is that how life is? Like as my friend was saying, like get an inspiration and henceforth everything is all figured out. We had a friend who was like a very methodical, no? He had like plans for all his life. This is when we were in our 20s. So we used to joke that, yeah, he's going to have his first child on 27th, second on 31st. And then after that, no more. And then is it what life is? Really? How boring it would be. Or the life is more intuitive. No, we think a lot, our mind just give us so many thoughts and we worry. Is that the reality? Reality is only the moment, isn't it? And then life sort of unfolds from moment to moment. And that's why we talk a lot about intuition. And that is the invitation. When we talk about even leaving a stable foundation, just look at life. Why are we looking for something else? We look at breath, making us different from what we are saying that we are alive. So just look at life and that will tell you what is happening, and what is going to happen will just come on its own. And when we live like that, it has a capacity to bring us fulfillment. There's a short experiment that, or game, as I say, when I was in college, they used to do. This was about a writing exercise. So they will give you one word and say, okay, write story about that word. So we'll start writing. And then after 10 minutes, they will come and give you another word. And now in your story, you have to somehow incorporate that word as if the story still has to make sense. Now, of course, these guys have chosen words which absolutely don't make sense to anything. But it was very interesting. One guy who won the competition, like there would be all sorts of reaction when the new word comes with, oh, no, not that. But this guy who won the competition would look at that, perfect. Actually, there was nothing perfect about that. But he would be open, he wanted to look at the word, and from there, his journey began. For the rest of most of others, the journey has already projected many things, and they wanted the word to fit that projection. What Judas wanted to do, he wanted life to fit what his projection is. Jesus is telling, no, try the other way around. Try the other way around. Try to fit yourself into what life wants. Which one would we choose? Is it easy to try to fix the world? Because we don't even know necessarily how to fix it, how to do it. But what is our choice is we can be in tune. We can be in tune with what life wants from us. It may not make very rational sense in the long term. It may not fit very conveniently to our projections. But that allows us to be participating in life wholeheartedly. Just the way our friend was saying, doesn't matter what word it is, how inconvenient it is, accepting it just opens up a completely new vista. I'm going to live that word now. I'm going to be alive in that word now till the next word comes, and I'll be equally alive to that word also. And that is choosing the stable ground, which is not going elsewhere, just being here instead. Now, this is what Master again invites again and again, is be in tune. He says, be in tune so that you can live a life which is more fulfilling. And while we try to do that, is it possible that we will fail? Absolutely, absolutely. And then there is this analogy we always talk about is of a potter. When a potter makes a pot, what makes a pot good? A good pot is probably beaten up quite enough number of times and cooked. So that then finally, when this has happened, it is ready to fulfill what it's supposed to do, to be an actual container, to be actually of some service. And when we fall, it is not a problem. It is a very good thing, because that fall is going to bring us to some wisdom. That is up to us. And then till then, we'll just get those beatings and we get cooked into this fire of spirituality, as we call it. But eventually, as our Master promises, we will become that useful pot and will be able to fulfill what we are supposed to do in this lifetime and always. Enjoy it.